Saturday marked 30 years since the worst aviation accident in Fresno's history. On December 14th, 1994, a jet crash landed on East Olive Avenue in central Fresno, killing both the pilots on board and injuring several others on the ground. Action News reporter Brisa Colon joins us live in studio and has a closer look back at the day the city will never forget. Brisa.
Eliza, it was a day like none other in the city of Fresno. The jet crash drew dozens of media outlets from around the country. I spoke with former Mayor Jim Patterson about the difficult day he calls horrific and why he says the city escaped a major tragedy.
December 14th, 1994. It was just before noon in the city of Fresno. Two pilots who had been contracted to provide war game training for Air National Guard pilots were wrapping up their flight and preparing to land in Fresno when an engine on their modified Learjet suddenly caught fire.
We got an engine fire on the right side too, it shows. Jesus Christ. Do we have any power? Come on, baby. Go crash on me now.
Both pilots frantically tried to diagnose the problem, but the plane went down, first clipping a light pole before smashing into an apartment complex.
I don't know if they came through the house and killed them. I don't know.
The pilots, Richard Anderson and Brad Sexton, were killed, and 21 people on the ground were injured.
What happened is going to stay with me. Just the explosion itself and everything, it's just something that'll never go away.
Every available first responder in the city rushed to the scene. When firefighters arrived, debris was scattered everywhere. A jet engine, still on fire, was lying in the middle of the street. Jim Patterson was only about a year into being Fresno's mayor at the time of the crash. He recalls the day as, quote, baptism by fire.
It was just stunning to come up on the scene, to see that Learjet that hit Olive, went like 2 blocks long.
The crash thrust Fresno onto the national stage.
We must have had a half a dozen of these big satellite trucks, right? And they were all feeding live, and everybody was reporting and rushed and, oh my goodness, look what happened and all. And I really felt that my responsibility was to calm the messaging down a bit.
The plane narrowly avoided Ewing Elementary School on Olive, just east of Chestnut.
We were dismissing our kids, and we heard what sounded like a jet plane, literally like a trash can or something going right past the room.
Metal. It was
just it was, and it went right over the tops of our classrooms.
Action News spoke with a student 10 years ago who was in 3rd grade at the time, watching the crash from inside his classroom.
I said, hey, there's something in the sky, and we realized there was a big thing of smoke and the plane flying across as he got a little lower.
The library now bears the names of the pilots who did all they could to avoid crashing into the school.
We lost no life except those 2 pilots. And the reason we didn't lose lives is because the 2 pilots determined that they were going to miss the populated areas, and they basically used Olive as sort of a substitute runway.
The National Transportation Safety Board determined that faulty wiring, along with improper maintenance and inspection of the aircraft, had caused the crash. Phoenix Air, the company that owned the plane, was forced to pay millions out to those impacted. $12 million went to a woman named Blondie Davis, who was burned over 60% of her body.
And Blondie was in her apartment, and she was getting ready to go somewhere, and the engine came into her bathroom while she was getting ready on fire and burned her.
3 decades later, and still the worst aviation accident Fresno has ever seen. While the NTSB praised the city's emergency response, it led to lasting changes.
One of the lessons we learned was that we needed to synthesize those radio frequencies, and that was one of the initiatives that I put forward after that incident.
Memories of the tragic day continue to live on in the minds and hearts of Fresnans.
By far sticks in my mind like it happened yesterday.
Those pilots potentially saving countless of innocent lives that day, December 14th, 1994, will live on forever right here in the city of Fresno. Eliza.
Hey, Central California, stay up to date with all the most important news and weather. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to ABC 30 Action News.